Hi, I'm Zanzi. Welcome back to Farmers Inside Track, South Africa's most downloaded farmers podcast. I am your host, Patricia Tembo. Desry Lesele grew up in Limpopo surrounded by farming and developed a deep passion for agriculture early on. From his roots in rural farming to becoming a chartered accountant with advanced finance and strategy qualifications, Desry now leads innovative agri-finance solutions at Nedbank. He shares how his unique blend of practical farming insights and financial expertise drives his mission to break down the barriers farmers face and build a more sustainable and inclusive agricultural future in South Africa. Nedbank's smart finance solutions help farmers navigate uncertainty, strengthen margins, and ensure sustainable growth. Here is my colleague Lisa Kanyavena in conversation with Desry Lesele, Senior Manager of Agriculture Client Value Proposition at Nedbank.
Joining us today is Desry Lesele. Well, I know that everyone in the sector knows you as Des. Am I allowed to call you Des as well?
Yes, you can decide.
Then Des, let's start by getting to know you a bit. Can you share your journey from your academic background to the work you are doing in the agricultural space today?
Thanks, Lisa. I'm going to try to be as short as I can, right? Because if I try to go look at the background wholly, I might take a bit of time. But let me start with just saying thank you again for having me and chatting to me. And agriculture is more than just an industry for me. I see agriculture as a backbone of the food security and rural livelihood for all human beings. This is a sector that feeds our nation, create jobs, and power the economic growth. And today, I want to share my journey, share a few challenges that I see farmers facing, and again, the exciting future that we're looking ahead in the agriculture sector. But to your question of a bit about my background, so I was born in Limpopo, and the earliest days of my childhood, I spent a lot of time with my granny, who herself, she was a farmer. She was growing field crops more on sorghum and white maize and kept a few cattle. So I spent countless hours by her side in the field. That is where my love and passion for agriculture began. And I also saw her struggles, especially when it relates to finances and the ability to expand and scale up her farm. And these challenges stayed with me for long, my varsity years. So when I began my career in finance, I knew I wanted to make a difference to farmers like her. We know South African agriculture is known for this dualism, where on the other side you have large, big commercial farmers, and on the other side you have small emerging farmers coming up. And this is covered extensively by Wandile Slovo, the chief economist at Agbus, in his book where he looks at a country of two agriculture. So my granny was operating on the far end of extreme, where she was a small farmer with limited growth and constant financial challenges. So when I was at varsity, I took up this challenge to say, I want to participate in the sector and assist farmers to be able to get finance and get products that suits their farming operations. And today in Nedbank, I focus on creating financial and non-financial solutions that help farmers grow their farms sustainably and overcome financial barriers. And that alone stems from, we know, if you look at the agriculture sector in South Africa, it contributes about 2.5% to the South African GDP directly. But when you look at the whole value chain, the linkage backwards and forward linkages looking at agri-processing, it's closer to about 12 to 15%, as mentioned by BFAP, who are the Bureau of Food and Agriculture Policies. The sector alone employs close to about 924,000 people and making it the largest employer of rural areas. So all these factors is what drives me to be passionate about working in the sector, the impact it has on food security, economic growth, and social impact, and the livelihood of human beings. That's what stems me and burns me to spend a lot of my time within this sector.
Agriculture is a complex and evolving sector. I mean, from the challenges you've seen with your granny to what it is now, it might be different. What are some of the most common financial challenges you see farmers and agribusinesses facing today? And how is Nedbank, through your strategy, helping to tackle these challenges?
Farmers face unique and different financial challenges daily. Based on what, and this challenge are based on the commodity that they are farming with. This might seem like a simple question, but yet it's a very difficult question that you're asking me to pinpoint the common challenges. But let me just start it this way, right? Agriculture has more than 32 different industries within its subsector, spanning from field crops, horticulture, and livestock, each having unique drivers of change that impacts their income and also intensely impact their input cost. On one side, you had common challenge that farmers are facing, which is the input cost increase. The input costs such as fertilizers and fuel have been increasing, the costs have been increasing. And on the other side, the oversupply of grains in the market has pushed prices down. So I said, well, the Minister of Agriculture, John, covered it as well, where he summed it up quite perfectly when he said the common challenges that farmers are facing is when the money they are getting from selling their crops is low, but the cost of growing those crops is high. And this financial consequences is incurred by these farmers, and this erodes their margin, which is the point that I want to focus on, which is what farmers are going through and what I call it as cost squeeze, which is a common biggest challenge that farmers are going through now. So the cost squeeze side is a huge challenge and is a big challenge that farmers are facing today. Farmers are under immense pressure to produce more with few resources. It's not easy to single out one challenge, but the research that was done by BFAB looking at the democratic era from 1994 to 2004 illustrates this issue perfectly. Over the past 8 years, the gross farm income has increased by a factor of 2.6, driven by high production volume and a shift towards high value products. However, the farm cost over the same periods have risen faster than 3.3 times since 1993. What this illustrates is the income, the cost of production, the input cost is growing way faster than the incomes that farmers are making from their farm. And this is affecting their margins as they continue to produce. So their margins are eroded, and unless there's a significant production gain that counter this. So farmers are facing a huge issue of input cost, and their margins are getting lesser and less. And just to add to this as well, there's an element of climate volatility as well, disease outbreaks, the likes of food and mouth disease that broke out this year, infrastructure challenges, and farming is becoming really, really tough. But again, from Nedbank commercial banking perspective, we respond by having dedicated agriculture specialists in every region in South Africa who spend enough time with the farmers understanding these issues. And again, they guide these farmers on the right lending solutions to use and how to hedge the risk against this volatility that we know in agriculture, and the use of the correct financial solutions such as agriculture production loan, asset financing, as well as the risk management tools such as insurance. And we also went beyond banking and looked at, say, what can we use to help farmers in this space? And we looked at agri-tech platforms to say, is there agri-tech platforms that we can partner with to ensure that farmers can use them to reduce some of the costs that they're incurring? And the partnership that we just launched earlier in the year at Nampo was a partnership with a tech company called Pressbase, which helps farmers with the price sensitivity. So it offers price transparency and market access. For us, this is not just about finance. It is about building resilience and sustainability for farmers. As I often say, finance should not be a barrier to farming success. This should be seen as an enabler.
I'm quite glad that you touched on the resources needed by farmers, right? So when it comes to developing banking solutions, how do you ensure that they are truly aligned with farmers' needs? And what advice would you give to farmers on how to better leverage financial products to grow their operations sustainably?
Great question, Lisa. Developing banking solutions, and especially for farmers, this is an area of my passion, something I get excited over. So let me just say this. At Nedbank commercial banking, we don't just design financial solutions in isolation. We co-create this with farmers through engagement with the different commodity associations, through an intense market survey that we perform, and partnerships, because we understand we cannot do this for our own and on our own. Alignment starts with listening to the farmers. We spend a lot of time engaging with farmers on the ground to understand their reality, understand the seasonal cash flow cycle, climate risk, disease outbreaks, and even infrastructure challenges. From there, we design financial solutions and non-financial solutions that are practical and relevant, like the agriculture production loan that we have for planting season, the asset financing for equipment, and the risk management tools that we usually have for such as insurance, just to mention a few. But it does not stop at finance for us at Nedbank Commercial Banking. We also partner with agri-tech platforms like Pressbase to give farmers a price transparency and market access because sustainability is about more than just funding. It is about resilience. Then to your other question of saying advice I would share with farmers. Farmers should see financial products as strategic tools, not just debt or just taking a loan. They must use them to unlock growth, whether that is investing in technology or diversifying their income streams or protecting their business against volatility. And always engage with their bankers early, and best solution come from collaboration. And the second advice will be, I urge farmers mostly when I engage with them, especially when I go around the country, to say they need to treat their farming businesses as a business, not as a hobby. They must treat it as a business. They must keep strong financial records, embrace technology, and plan ahead of time and make connections with their bankers way too early and position themselves for growth and plan much better. This is crucial because over 70% of South African farmland is faced with climate-related issues, and up to 40% yield loss is possible if correct strategies are applied by farmers and knowledge is applied correctly on the farms. Therefore, financial planning is not optional, it's a survival for farmers. Therefore, they must plan very well when they do that. There are a couple of few simple things that they can start with. First, it will be from my side, they need to keep their cash flow focused. It is a game changer for decision making and securing finance with the banks. You need to understand your cash flows, understand how you've been operating over years. How are you doing in different seasons? That alone helps farmers to be ready to be funded, ready to engage with a bank with a solid track record of their financials. So that's like one advice I'll give farmers to do. And again, they need to embrace technology that comes with farming as well. And people might argue that farmers are not easy to adopt technology. Over the years that I've spent in this sector, I've seen farmers taking up technology quite well. And I've seen companies coming through and testing their technology within the farming sector, as they know farmers are agile and are resilient and they are quick to adapt to the technology. So they must use technology to enhance their operations and efficiency.
Looking ahead, the future of agriculture is being shaped by technology and innovation. How do you see emerging technologies transforming the agricultural finance landscape? Are there any trends in South African agriculture that excite you from a business perspective?
Technology excites. I'm struggling to outgrow the gaming habits that I have, and especially technology in the agriculture sector. I'm going to start your question just by looking at the global landscape. The agriculture e-commerce sector is growing at an exponential pace globally, and it was valued at $40.2 billion USD in 2023, and is projected to be double around $90.1 billion USD in 2033. That is a clear indication that the way farmers engage with suppliers and market is undergoing a fundamental shift. There are a few key drivers behind this growth. First, we are seeing a global push towards efficiency and transparency in the agriculture sector. Farmers are under pressure to produce more with less resources. And the digital platforms are helping them to do that by streamlining procurement, improving price discoveries, and reducing the transactional cost. So let's bring it home. In South Africa alone, this shift is particularly important. And just after COVID, we've seen a huge take-up into the agriculture technology and agriculture platforms and innovation. Our farmers are facing unique challenges from a rise in input cost, as I covered earlier, which includes your fuel prices and supply chain disruption and climate issues as well. But e-commerce platforms like Pressbase, which we partnered with as Nedbank, are helping address these challenges by enabling farmers to compare prices from inputs like fertilizer, seeds, fuel, and have them delivered directly at their farms. This is very important and very powerful at all levels. Being emerging farmers or big commercial farmers who may not have the same access of networks and economic of scale at large. By using these digital platforms, farmers are able to help themselves in comparing prices and knowing when to buy and when not to buy when prices are high. And they're able to have these prices at the fingertips at the real time. And at Nedbank Commercial Banking, we see this as part of a broader transformation where agriculture is no longer just about land or labor, but about data, platforms, and partnership that drive sustainability. Let me just take a step back and just explain the partnership we have with Desry and how it's helping farmers and how it's innovating this sector. So let me just explain what the Desry partnership does, right? So Desry have this app or this online platform where farmers are able to source agriculture inputs directly from suppliers, compare prices at real time, and have their produce delivered straight at their farm. So this helps them with reducing time of traveling. So there are several benefits of this technology or this platform. First, farmers no longer need to spend hours or even days traveling to towns, traveling to long hours to co-ops. Desry can do this all at the comfort of their phone or their laptop. Secondly, this reduces cost, which is quite important given the first part that I alluded on cost. This reduces cost. By farmers comparing price through multiple suppliers, farmers can make more informed decisions and avoid overpaying. This is particularly important when you consider the input costs can account to about 60% of the farmer's total production expenses. The third one is this technology and this innovation can boost productivity. Timeless access to the right input, especially during planting or harvesting window, can make a difference to a good season or a bad season to a farmer. Desry ensures that farmers are not delayed by stock shortages or backlogs in the logistics side of getting your agriculture inputs. Last one, which is a benefit of using this technology, this innovation, is towards sustainability benefit. At Nedbank Commercial Banking, we pride ourselves with saying farmers must farm sustainably. With this platform, what it does, it reduces the need to travel. The platform helps lower the farmer's carbon footprint, which is becoming increasingly important as we move towards a more climate resilient farming practices. And again, most importantly, what this platform does and this innovation does is what I call inclusive growth, which also is covered extensively in the Agriculture and Agri-Processing Master Plan, the AMP, where South African agriculture sector, we know that it's a dualism and where there's large farmers and small commercial farmers. But what this innovation and this technology that is coming up in the likes of platforms is doing is bridging the gap, which helps either small or big farmers to be able to be competitive and purchase price on a platform and reduces the risk, the cost of traveling around. So this brings that inclusivity growth amongst farmers all around. So these are key trends that are coming up in the agriculture sector. We see more agriculture platforms coming up. It can either from like Desry from the input side, from the buying side, and there's other platforms that are coming up towards the market access side, the selling side of your produce after harvest. So there's a lot of innovation and creativity that is coming up. And as Nedbank Commercial Banking, we're quite happy to be at the center of this and assisting farmers towards the efficient agriculture processing or farming practices.
And finally, Des, for the next generation of farmers and agripreneurs, what wisdom would you share with those just starting out in the sector?
I'm going to keep this one short, right? To the next generation, I'm going to emphasize this: embrace technology, build strong networks, and always think sustainability. Farming is not just about passion. It is a business, and it's a business that needs to live longer. According to Agbus and TradeMap data, South African agriculture exports hit a record high of about 13.7 billion USD in 2024, with citrus leading the change. This shows the potential of the South African agriculture as a player in the global landscape. But again, one part that I want to bring to the next generation is this part. And this is a challenge. Agri-SA estimate that the average age of a farmer in South Africa is 57. While youth makes up over a third of the South African population, we need young farmers to step up and be innovative and play a role in this agriculture sector. So to the next generation, start your farming knowledge quite early, and you need to step up and show that you got passion for this sector. And I just want to close up maybe just saying agriculture is more than just an industry for me or for us at Nedbank Commercial Banking. It is a backbone of the food security and economic growth. And at Nedbank Commercial Banking, we are committed to walk this journey with farmers and providing solutions that help them grow sustainably. And to every farmer or agripreneur listening, your work matters, and together we can build a strong and more resilient agriculture sector.
And that was Desry Lesele, Senior Manager of Agriculture Client Value Proposition at Nedbank. This is Farmers Inside Track. Thank you for listening and keep growing with us.